guys, because I literally
We're
we're
on.
live. Let's go.
Hey
Yeah.
guys. All right. Well, we've got three-fourths of the stock squad here. Mo was asking, "What's our timeline?" And the answer is
Yeah.
now.
I got a
Uh,
bag. I got a bag packed, ready to roll after this for a 5-hour trip. Family, I'm excited. I'm not trying to cut it short. Just need to know.
we are going to be concise and to the point, and I'm gonna give a quick market overview for the day, and then I'm gonna give you my top trades, and we're gonna pick these guys' brain for what is interesting them going into the end of this week. So we've had a couple significant major events this week that have actually moved some companies an incredible degree. FedEx leaped after a profit forecast. Now we've got to pause, and I want you guys to understand that some people actually view FedEx as an indicator of the health of the economy, because the bottom line is if there's a ton of packages circulating and being sent to and fro, it means people are buying stuff, it means people have money, and it means that we're not as bad off as some might think. And so them giving, what they did is they gave a good forward guidance for an uptick on coming future revenues. Their stock absolutely took off, and I think it's actually a pretty bullish indicator. I'm in a little while, not just yet, Larry, I'm going to get into the conversation that we had earlier about how bullish can this market be right now? How bullish is this market? But I also want to take a step back and talk about Rivian. Rivian rose from the grave today. I consider it still a zombie walking around, but it had an incredible move. Shooting up to around $16, and they made a deal with Volkswagen, a new venture with Volkswagen, which some people had expected was coming. Then you've got Amazon. Now, Amazon did something pretty incredible, and I've had a target of $200 on Amazon. Amazon joined the ranks of the other big heavy hitters in the Magnificent Seven, at least 4 of them that have a distinct criteria of having hit over $2 trillion in market cap. That's a elite club. Nvidia, Apple, Google, and Microsoft. And now Amazon can claim the fame of being a $2 trillion market cap company. And the truth is that Amazon, very similar to FedEx, shows the health of the economy. And so if people are running up Amazon stock, it means that the general public is buying and spending money, and there's goods and going back and forth throughout society. Now, having said all that, we went up with the #1 growth stock story in the world, which was Nvidia. We hit 140 bucks and we've fallen back. In addition to that, we went up with the second biggest growth story of innovation and change in the world, which was Bitcoin. We went up to 72K and we fell back there. So the two big giants of growth, which kind of push stocks and crypto higher, they're not the ones leading the market right now. It's these other smaller plays. And I'm going to suggest to you that the story is not over. All they did is get overheated and they pulled back. And it's going to lead me into my 2 big plays for the end of this week. I'm going to tell you guys exactly where and when I want to get onto the Nvidia train again, and I'm going to tell you exactly where I want to jump on the back of the Bitcoin bull again, and actually which crypto I want to get into. But there is a nervous calm hanging over the markets because we have run up. We've been running up for a year and a half. Stockmo and I did a live video last week where we talked about the fact that the market usually corrects within about a year and a half, and we have been running for over a year and a half and haven't gotten a 10% correction yet. And so the big news that the market is waiting for nervously this week is actually coming out Friday, and that's the PCE. That's the May's personal consumption expenditures, which basically reflects the changes in consumer behavior and spending. And what people are going to be looking for is sort of that lineup with FedEx and Amazon. Are people not as fearful? Is spending contracting, or are we actually expanding, getting us back to the growth story and getting us back to potentially sticky inflation? Before I go into the SPY, and we're going to do a health check there in just a minute, but I want to get these guys' reaction based on the overview of what I shared in the market. Larry, this week, lead us off. What do you think? How bullish is this market? And as the recent dip in the 2 biggest growth stories, have they provided a buying opportunity, or is it get out while the getting's good?
I don't think the buying opportunity is just right now. So generally in an election year, which this is, when the Dems are in power, which the president is a Dem, All right, I'm gonna just say rep and dims, okay? Generally, it tops out this month, right? Generally, it tops out this month, and then there's a cool off, right? All the way down to October. October being the lowest month from June. And then what happens is, let's say the S&P is at 53 in June, or 53 in June, right? We have a bleed down to October, and then November, S&P back up to 56. So November, which is the election month, then it pops back up. I believe that we could follow suit. Now, since this has been since 1949, they've tracked every presidential year, which does have an effect on the market. I believe that this market could, I don't have a crystal ball, could follow the same thing. And you and I both, Josh, have been looking for a 10%-ish cool down, which I think will be healthy. And I believe that that would be the time to really start buying heavy in the overall market, not individual stocks.
All right, I think that's pretty fair. Mo, I want to come to you, and I wonder if you can share that conversation we were having earlier about the M2 money supply and how it's been coinciding.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, absolutely. There's two things I'm watching. One, this is the Qs. These are the chart. As you can see, we have been trading in a beautiful little channel, and it's been pretty hot. You can see it hitting down there in support, bouncing back up on resistance, failing on resistance, back down, getting close to support. With that being said, when's it going to break? And you could see, obviously, my bread bot giving us the signals, warning, 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 warning. Down it came, down to the 13. But as we're consolidating here, we're kind of going sideways here. I think something big's going to happen. And I got to say, Larry saying what he just said, man, there is nothing I love more than history. Larry, I did not know that history. And it really, when you started saying that, man, it got me thinking, because in the chart I just showed you, I'm not sure if something's going to break or not, but the history usually is a great guide into what's going to happen. We have seen a pull off that overbought, and I will pull that up one more time, because I believe we are going to come down and test real strong on that support. Roughly 474 on the Qs. I'm not sure, of course, because there's something out there that you just said. The money. This is M2, folks. For those who are saying, oh, M2's been going backwards. That is people selling fear to you. The truth is, since October, we have been rapidly spending more and more money and printing more and more money in this government, and you can see it moving higher now. And for those who did not know that, if you look at the market and when it bottomed out, I think it was October, what happened in October into November that pushed the market up? More and more money into M2. As M2 goes higher, you can find a strong correlation between that and stock market performance, which, since we're going higher at M2, should lead to the markets continuing to have a nice run. But I'm with Larry on this, man. I hate fighting against history, and I absolutely try to follow it at all times, or we're doomed to repeat some of the losses back then. So I'm kind of in the middle here, following the charts and everything else. It is tough. We are definitely in a tough time. Set your stop losses, your trailing stop losses for those big winners, and for those losers, or we might have, just set a stop loss, 10% equities, 30% on the options. You should be able to limit the losses and really let those gains run.
Mo, can you...
If you could bring me up for just a sec, Josh, I want to show the people this, because this might help a lot of people. So yeah, here's where we are. Yep, here's where we are, okay? So look, S&P average returns since 1949, just like I said. June is where we peak out now. Let's go over this really quick. The dark blue, all years, right? Mm-hmm. The middle, whatever this teal color is, presidential year 4. Okay. All right. So let's just put that in perspective. Okay. And then Dems, see here, Democrats presidential year. Okay. So here we have June, highest. And then just like I just said, just like what the charts is kind of showing me and what we're expecting, July, kind of a bleed down, August, and then look at what happens September and October. Boom, Boom. Okay. Look at that. Right.
The only thing that scares me with that, Larry, is that yellow's the Dem president year 4, which is up in July, August, September, but the overall president's down rapidly. Ugh.
Exactly. So then what happens in November? Bam.
Huge win. Yep.
Higher than June. Now, this is a snapshot of the S&P since 1949. And I would say that that's a good track record.
Dude, that was awesome.
And yeah, you can't unsee that.
That's pretty interesting, Larry. Let's do a quick audio check, guys. Is my audio any better?
Come on up, Josh. Bring your
I'm
volume
up as high as I can. Let me
Elvis,
try this.
let's go, Elvis. Get that. We want to hear.
Yeah, no, that's going to be as high as I can get my volume.
That's good. That's good right there.
Setup. Okay.
Yep, that's good.
All right. Well, guys, we got 271 likes, but a few more people here. I think already just the intro alone, we've gotten some solid information. We haven't even gotten to my picks, which nobody loves my picks more than me because they're a path for my personal profit. And so I'm excited to share them with you guys. And honestly, nobody likes my charting more than me. I get excited when I look at the charts and I find these gems. I'm like, ooh, look at that. I'm going to buy that. And I've got some of that for you guys today. Let's take a minute real quick and let's do a health check on the SPY, because after both of you guys spoke, I saw a number of questions that says, wait a minute, are we dipping now? Isn't this a pullback? We're going to pull back later. And I think that people are confused. I'm going to tell you right now that if you read all the news stories for the day, you're going to see one word repeated over and over again, which is choppy. We are in choppy markets. And if you stop and think about the videos that I did very consistently in the previous month, I kept telling you that when we got to 5,500, we were going to be into full-blown potential distribution, not the absolute complete top. At the moment, I'm still holding out that might be 5,600, but for sure we would be in full-blown capitulation. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of what that looks like on the S&P 500 when we go back in a time machine and look at the 2021 charts. It looks like days in which we're dropping a whole 2% and then returning a whole 2% and then coming back, really volatile days. But let's just go into the S&P and we're going to do a little bit of a health check here. So my view on it is, I gave you guys this in the past, that 551 is a trigger. If we get a candle that closes above this, we open a candle above it, then we actually have the potential of continuing our bullish climb all the way up to 572 in the course of this year. Now, I do see that we've touched the top of the channel. We need to acknowledge that and respect it. We touched it exactly at 550. And as just like these guys were saying, I think largely we're going to chop up this middle area here until we can build some momentum to possibly make another attempt above 551. I would be surprised if we didn't attempt another push above 551. But here's the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me turn on volume real quick. Let's see here. What we have here is an ascending wedge. These are bearish. This absolutely will at some point break to the downside. And if we go into the RSI and we pull that up, you're going to see something that we've been talking about for a long time. A health check for the market is this. And you guys can already see it. Let's do the math, right? We have rising price on decreasing volume. I got to do this right here. Decreasing volume and on decreasing momentum. So I'm just going to keep it so freaking simple. If this is a health check or if this was a score, you've only got a 30% up score. You got one thumb up, two thumbs down. A true bull market is going to have rising price on rising volume on rising momentum. We only have 1/3 of the magical equation to make the markets go higher. Guys, let me get your reaction, Mo, real quick to my health check on the SPY.
Well, like I said, I still believe, and I'm going to put it, everybody has their opinion on the SPY and what's going on. I said it before for a while that I thought we would run up. I know you and I did a conversation a little bit ago, Josh, in that live stream, where we talked about I think you said 5,500 back then, and then we'll see where we go after the 5,500.
Yep, that's
I'm
correct.
with you on that. I think we're going to hit that 5,500 mark. The question of how do things go once everybody has to start paying their student loans in October, November? That's what I'm concerned about. If we know this market is driven by retail, which we're all retail, we're buying, we're out there shopping, more money's being printed for M2, earning reports are coming out fantastic. How can you bet against this market? But then we talk about the need for a cool down. I just showed you the Qs were way overbought at one point, and we really didn't get a massive cool down. We got a little consolidation, but where do we go from here? Where's the money to be made? And at this particular moment in time, Larry sharing his point with the whole election. If I'm looking at everything I just was given today, this was a filet mignon that Larry just gave us. You saw the history. All three different situations, Dems, Republicans, it doesn't even matter. But right. November skyrockets. If you want to know how to play, I don't want to nickel and dime this. I don't think Larry wants to nickel and dime it. I know Josh doesn't. I think I'm going to load up at the beginning or end of October going into the election, when all the fear, and you're going to see articles about everything being horrible, and what happens if they win? It's the end of the world. What happens if they win? It's the end of the world. Well, you know what's not? It's not going to be the end of the world, and the market's going to skyrocket. Larry just gave you one of the biggest plays of the year, and I don't know if everybody realizes it. If you buy this market long, most likely if history repeats, which Larry, I'm with you on this, I think it does. All the setups are there, M2 increasing, all the good things happening, minus the student loans. But I still think it's enough that you're going to see a massive pump in this market come November. So my play, I think the S&P might struggle up to beginning of November. But just like Larry showed us, November pops, and that's how I'm going to be playing it.
You know what would be interesting is if we got that any form of a correction. I don't really see a strong correction, but if we begin to heat up to the downside, I would actually love a 10% correction, which isn't that bad.
Yes.
Right into right before November.
It would be great.
Yeah, we would love it.
We'd just make more money.
So yeah, I got a question here, and this is perfect for Larry regarding Rivian. We talked about Rivian popping. I got to find it again. But the question is whether or not he should buy Rivian. I covered it today with Larry and Mo in the Discord. And Larry, why don't you just briefly respond to that?
Yes, I left a comment. I saw that comment, and I expect a slight pullback on Rivian. That's what I expect, a slight pullback. Now, Rivian long-term could continue to go up, but I suspect a slight pullback on Rivian first. I believe that the run-up was too much, too quick. It was up over 50%. Now, that was big news, $5 billion into a small EV companies. And I still think that we have more red waters ahead for the entire EV industry. That's why. So it wasn't just Rivian itself. This election has way more to do with stocks than ever, I believe, in the history of the stock market. I believe that there are so many issues, including tariffs on semiconductors. Okay, so this has a lot to do with it. So I believe that it should pull back a little bit first. So I wouldn't be I definitely wouldn't be doing a call right now. Now I could say that, Josh, and of course it could go up 300% tomorrow, right? But me personally, I wouldn't take that bet right now, because it generally takes about 48 hours to kind of find a direction, right? And so if you were going to go in, I would go in extremely lightly. That way you're limiting your loss just in case there's a cool down, right? But having said that, I believe that this is the year to buy Rivian. I believe this is the year to buy Tesla. I believe that this is the year to buy any good, sustainable EV company. I believe that they will get beat down the most this year.
All right, well, I'm going to throw my thought out there regarding Rivian. And whenever you're talking stocks and buying them, you are often having to define the time frame. Larry is very sensitive to momentum, and so the bottom line is if it begins to pop, he's going to run with it to the upside. Here's my exact thought on Rivian. Overall, I actually think we're still seeing the EVs under some buying pressure, and there's a lot of shorts that got stuck with Rivian down at $10, and so they're praying that you don't buy Rivian. They're praying, oh Lord, help me, don't let them buy Rivian. And so it's going to force them, it'll get them liquidated, and because of that, I would say that we're going to get 1 or 2 more days of extremely choppy behavior, and so I think that we could go up a little bit. But the idea that Rivian is out of the woods, which is more to Larry's point, is that those shorts might be, you know, for the time being until we get rate cuts, because EVs are rate sensitive. For the time being, those shorts might have been right. It might not be time to buy Rivian, and so it could come back down maybe over the course of the next 2 months. And so timing is everything. But I do see that the momentum as of tomorrow morning is probably still to the upside, and as to Larry's point, could be setting up for some puts at some point. All right, let's this is going to be a very concise video, not our typical hour long. We're going to keep it under 30 minutes, and then we're going to do a follow-up in the Stock Squad Patreon. We're going to be going right over there, and that's where I'm going to drop my crypto buy alert. But before I do, I'm going to give you guys the 2 stocks that I'm interested in catching the local bottom on. And you know what? Let's take this conversation of the markets going up or down over the course of between now and November. Let's just take it off the table for a moment. We have that Friday PCE number, which is going to move the markets. And I actually am hoping that the markets have a little bit of downside over the next couple days, so that I can get the stock that I'm getting ready to show you guys. Let me tell you, and this is going to be my pick. I'm going to give you 2 of them. I'm going to give you the charts. We're going to go fast, and then we're going to get Mo and Larry's thoughts on a play going into Friday, and then we're going to be heading over to the Discord. So let me jump into my screen. All right, the next play of the day is going to be Nvidia. So, you know, there are a lot of people right now who are panicking because they bought up here and it fell apart, man. This thing hit 140 bucks, exactly like I had predicted it after earnings. Actually, not the day of earnings or the day after, but shortly after earnings. I told everybody when we got above 128 that the end would be 140. We touched it on the nose and we fell down. This is exactly what's expected. Now, another prediction that I've made was that when we eventually find our top, we will eventually have a full 30% retracement, which would put us under $100 at the moment. Now, we are not going to get there right now. I don't see that. Maybe in the next 2 months. What I see is that we had this strong sell-off due to it getting overheated and really outside of all the bands and all the sensible moving averages. And here's the price point I want you guys to be identifying. The top end of our current play is 145. The bottom end of our current play is 111. This is resistance on the big picture view. This is support on the big picture view. You are very likely, if you're stuck up here, you're going to get an opportunity, I think. I don't have the crystal ball. This is just what I think. I think we're going to, at bare minimum, get back to 132. And we were in some Nvidia calls and we enjoyed some nice run up. We got out of them. And now I'm just praying that between now and that Friday that we get back somewhere around 121 would be my perfect ideal entry for a bounce up to 132. We don't, you know, you say, well, how confident are you, Joshua, that we'll get back to 121? Well, not, you know, I don't have 100% confidence, but what I don't have is a buy signal. I don't have a buy signal yet on any of the 4-hour time frames. Lower time frames, you've got some sell signals, but we haven't flipped over to a buy signal. And so I think that the market could come down. It's not guaranteed. We got this touch on support. I would just like to give it a little bit more time. I'd love to get in at 121, maybe Friday morning or Thursday night if that was coming my way. And I believe that we will still see a 132. If you go back in time and you look at the previous time that we made an all-time high, we absolutely had a lot of this before the market ever picked a direction for Nvidia, and I don't believe that we're just hitting 140 and falling apart from there. My second play, real quick, guys, is Super Microcomputer Inc. I like it on this. Okay, this is all like my wish list of trading. These would be, if I got everything I wanted in life, I would get it to pull back to 789, beautifully come back and retest this Lux Algo support, and also these trend lines that we've had in the past. This has had a lot more choppiness in it, but it would bring us to the bottom part of this trend line. If Nvidia's got some room to come down, then super microcomputers could also come down a little bit. I'd love to be looking at it come Friday at 789. Those are my two picks. Guys, you're welcome to react to those picks or give me a pick of your own. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm with you on that. I got some picks that for people. I know people are going to still be into DJT. I'm going to tell you that DJT is going to get very interesting and choppy from here. It is running up, but for those of you that have taken the class and know about the warrants, for those of you that have been with me since 2021, we make a boatload of money off of warrants. If you're going to buy DJT, buy the warrants. Look at that. Well, let's hold on. I'll make it fit, Josh. Okay, there we go. All right. As you can see at the time of making this, you could see that Donald J. Trump, the stock went up 7.95%, but the warrants went up what? 11.69%. Okay. So if you go over 48 hours, you'll see a huge bump up in the warrants, right? So we don't run with the crowd. We make money different ways. We make money in a lot of different ways, but we realize that we have a plan, right? And whenever you see a stock and it has the warrants attached, remember, if the warrants are trailing by more than 60%, the warrants will slingshot past the stock itself, and the warrants can absolutely act like they're options without the risk of options.
Hey,
so
Larry,
that's what I'm going to say to you guys. Go ahead.
I know that this seems so simple, and probably a lot of people have heard it before, but some people don't know what the warrants are. Guys, in a nutshell, it's the stock price with a W added at the end. Could you give I'm talking a 30-second explanation as to what the warrants are?
Sure. Now, most stock don't have warrants, but every now and then a stock will have warrants. What did have warrants were all stock that were SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies, right? DJT used to be DWAC, and it was a SPAC, so it had warrants attached to it. What a warrant was similar to an option. So if you buy the stock, you can buy the option to buy the stock. Generally, the warrants start out at about $10 a share, right? So let's say the stock was $24, and then you had a $10 warrant. You hold that warrant, and you can buy that warrant at the price that it is. Now, if you decide to exercise the warrant, the SPAC had to have a merger, all right, which DWAC did. Now it's Donald J. Trump, but now you have these warrants. As a matter of fact, Donald J. Trump himself is the largest owner of the warrants, all right? He has a big payday coming. So now what happens is you could exercise the right for that warrant at the $10 plus like $1 or something, right? But there's a lockout period where you can't exercise it. And so now when those warrants come in, and this is why DJT will eventually fall, when all of these warrants come in to cash their money, just think if DJT runs up to $40 and someone bought a warrant at $10 and they exercise millions of shares of warrants, what is that going to do to the stock price? Dilution.
Larry, are you going to trade puts on the DJT warrants? Are you going to do that?
You can't do that on the warrants. You can't do options on the warrants.
Okay. So really, what you're just playing is probably puts on DJT the closer we get to the warrant date, right?
Exactly.
And guys, again, it's a DJTW, Larry.
DJTW.
All right, guys. I wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Larry's saying is if DJT is going up, it will slingshot the warrants, which is DJTW. When you see DJT goes up, the warrants lag. So DJTW, which is cheaper, and you could buy more of them for more bang for your buck. They will slingshot past DJT. So I just want everybody to understand that in case they hear the word warrant and they don't know what we're talking about. We're gonna come to you, Mo, and I'm going to have you in just a second. I got a question here regarding should we buy Rivian? Oh, wait, nope, that's not that one. Is Palantir still going to 14-15 range? This is a reference to some technicals that I gave about a month ago where I said if we break below this ascending channel on Palantir, and if it breaks and if the price goes beneath 1970, which it has to cross that and then open and close a candle beneath it, then it could come all the way back to the next support at $14. Now, someone heard that and they're like, okay, Josh said it's going to $14. It never crossed below $20. It never broke beneath the channel. And as soon as we got to $21, I put out a strong buy alert and said, this is now confirming to me that it wants to go to the top of the channel, which is $29, especially because we're in an environment of bullishness with the S&P 500 listing Palantir. So at the moment, I see it continuing to the upside, and any opportunity for it to come down is not in the local horizon at the moment. I am going long, have been alerting long for quite a while. Mo, what would be a pick for the fam here going into the close?
I got, here's one I haven't shared yet here with a UAL. This is United Airlines Holdings. I have taken a put option on this, and already we're seeing some positivity towards that. And what I am talking about is that you can see that the 13's crossing the 50. We had a little bit of an oversold, a couple of days out, and now starting to drift back down. I believe there's more downward, so I'm looking at maybe a 2 to 4 week play here. And if you don't like options, you can just short it and put a 10% stop loss on it, because as we go out here, you see a double top here, and we had a real nice double top with this one. And of course, major oversold, ran it back up, retested the top, just couldn't hit it. And I think from there, we're going to come back down and start retesting some of these lows at the low 40s, high 30s. And therefore, I have played a nice little put option on this. And we could talk about more over at the Discord.
Hey, I got one thing I want to say, Josh.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I want to be clear with DJT. My biggest position, I'm not in it right now. My biggest position that I'm looking for in DJT is to short it. And I will wait for the appropriate time. I just want to be crystal clear. I'm not telling anybody to go run and buy it now. I'm not going to run to buy any DJT. I've made my money. But the next position I'm looking to make a huge bag with DJT is to ride it down. Thank you.
Larry has been very consistent, and he's been making a ton of money on DJT. Big bags. But guys, if you're following us, then we're not making any suggestion for what you should buy, sell, or hold, but please recognize when we shift. Like I shifted on Palantir when the technicals confirmed bullish. Larry's telling you that he's already shifted on DJT, and even though it could go up, right? I actually think there's some room up when looking at the charts. I still see it, I think, hitting around $40. But even though he's not looking to catch the end of it, he's watching for it to putter out so he can take it more to the downside as we get closer to the election. If you remember, Larry's theory is that when Donald Trump is president and has the platform, if he became president, and has the platform of the national and global stage to talk all he wants, then the idea of having a platform where you can get access to him becomes less important, and that would suggest that they're going to have a downturn in growth, and Wall Street rewards companies that are growing. It's why Nvidia, and including Bitcoin, it's not a stock, but the reason why it's going up is because of more adoption. All right, guys, I'm going to give you technicals on GME over in the Discord right now. Haven't charted it in a while, and I'm going to give a fresh set of Josh's money eyes on GME to see where the opportunity lies, up or down. And I'm going to give you guys my fresh...
Hey, Josh, what Discord are you talking about? Can you show it?
The Stock Squad. The squad. This is the power team where you get 4 guys in one community doing what we did here today, which was bouncing ideas off of each other and coming up, I think, with brilliance and teaching you guys more about the investment journey from all of our different perspectives, which is really quite varied. We're all making money, but we're doing it sometimes with a slightly different approach, and that's why I think we're strong, because of that diversification. Okay, we're going to end this video here, guys. Meet us over there. You know what? The likes, I didn't pump the likes. I got a funny comment about Hukta. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. You know, that's trending. That's trending.
Oh my God, you brought that up. Oh my God, she's famous from that now. Yeah. She has her own clothing line now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the Haktua. That's right. That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, someone said something about likes and Haktua. Guys, hit the like. Come on. I know that I gave the alpha today, and we're gonna join you. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate what you guys brought to the page today. If you don't know who these 2 guys are, this is Stock Mo and Stock Up with Larry Jones. I'm gonna leave a link in the description of the video for their pages. Please go over there and subscribe, because we are a team.
And Keenan Grace is traveling, so you guys know.
We miss you, Keenan. We miss you.
We miss you, King.
Celebrate 500,000 subscribers for Keenan earlier this week, too. Yes. Congrats, my friend.
Yeah, so if you want that crypto pick and you want that GME pick, meet us over in the Stock Squad video. We're going to spend about 30 minutes over there, guys. See you very soon. Thanks for joining me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Love you all. Peace and blessings.